we're going to look at another way to post our transactions into the ledger. We're starting by using general journal entries in Excel. I'm going to show you a couple of different methods today, so keep watching to see which one you prefer. Because I'm working in Excel, I get the advantage of the functions we learned in Module 3. Before we ever even go to the ledgers, I'm going to check to see if my debits and credits balance. You will see I was struggling here. Part of my screen was hidden, but in the end we got it sorted out. I'm just going to do a simple sum function. Copy that formula from the debits to the credits and make sure they balance. If they do, I know I can continue to the ledger. If not, I know there's a problem and I need to fix the journals before going to the ledger. I suggest you print out the journal entries so you can follow along. First, I am going to look for account 1040. We will be doing this account by account. I don't see any entries for 1040's petty cash. Up next is account 1060, and right away we see it used in the first transaction. I need to take the information from the journal and post it to the ledger. The date, the description, the post reference, which would be J1, and of course the debit entry. We know that this is a normal debit account. As an asset, anything that's in a debit column is going to increase our balance. Shortly, you'll see that anything that's a credit is going to decrease our balance. The formula for calculating balance will have to change accordingly. Here is our second entry for the account 1060, and as it's a purchase, I'm expecting it to decrease our cash account. It is from journal entry number 5, and it's a credit of $362.17. Hopefully, you can see the advantage of doing this in Excel. We can use the formulas and functions to apply basic calculations, as it will help us get the ledger done a little more efficiently. In this example, I'm doing the ledger account by account. I'm scrolling through all of the journal entries, looking for 1060. I would be checking it off or highlighting it as I post. I wouldn't highlight or check the entry line until I've entered it into the ledger. This is to prevent errors or omissions. You'll see that I ran out of room on my ledger, so all I'm going to do is insert some cells. I put them in the wrong spot, so I need to move them around a little bit. We have to make sure this is in chronological order. I'm moving down to the sale of a vehicle J9. In a second, you'll see that I forgot to bring the debit balance column down. I'm going to do that in just a minute, but normally you would do that each time that you put a new entry into the ledger. The debit doesn't mean that it was a debit entry, it means it's a debit balance. For an account like 1060, which is an asset, as long as we have a balance over zero, it's going to be a debit balance. Once we get into a negative value, for example, if we went into overdraft in our bank account, then it would become a credit balance. There is a bit of a pause here is because on paper I was actually checking it off as I was going. Looking for the next entry, highlighting it, posting it, and then checking it off. Make sure to follow the same process each time to try and eliminate errors. You're going to find that you save a lot of time at the end of this process when you're not correcting issues. I'm just looking for another entry, which is an owner's withdrawal from J14. I'm expecting a credit entry since we withdrew from our bank account. It's going to reduce our balance, but we still have a debit balance in the bank account, and this is going to be our last entry. Take note of the final balance. After this video, we move to the trial balance, and you'll see that this is the amount that gets moved over. Like I said, that's just one way of posting to the ledger. An account-by-account method, which I did because it was a little bit easier to see on Excel. I didn't have to scroll back and forth a lot. Now, I'll show you how I would typically post to the ledger using find and replace. I'm going to go transaction by transaction, starting with the first transaction. Our first entry was account 4000. It was a credit entry for $1,050. Notice, this is a revenue account with a normal credit balance, which means a credit is going to increase the balance. The next entry is going to be for account 2310. You'll see that I use find and replace to find the next account, which is 2,310 GST on sale. We know that liabilities is a normal credit balance. That means the credit is going to increase our balance. Next is 2410, QST on sale. I know it's down just a couple of spaces, so this time I'll just scroll down. Now, I'm going to enter the last part of the first transaction, which is a credit to our liabilities. I'm not going to keep doing this for the next 15 journals, but hope this has been enough assistance for you to complete the assignment. I would just continue this process, going through the next 15 transactions, checking everything line off as I post. So, that's the second method and one that I would prefer to use. Shortly, we'll post another video on how we're going to take these balances and turn them into a trial balance.